of y'all know, my wife's on the Humane Society board. My nephew's on the Humane Society board. Brooke Scrimshaw, and Susan is my wife. And a couple of council members have hinted that could be a problem. It's not a problem. When Susan was on the school board, District 7, I was on council. Wasn't a problem then. We don't talk about particularly things that are going on when she was on the school board, and I don't take it home and talk about things that are going on in council even back then. And the interesting thing about Susan being on the Humane Society, Susan is a big animal lover. In this case, again, I haven't been on any of the ad hoc committees. Jeff formed one a couple years ago with Tom Foster. I wasn't on that one. Let that committee, they did their thing. Jane was on hers. I wasn't on that one. So, and that was good. I was glad not to be on it. And Susan, like I say, we don't discuss the Humane Society inner workings, and that may be a surprise to a lot of y'all. And my main contacts have been with Darwin Simpson. I've known Darwin for a long time. So I have chosen to talk with Darwin about issues relating to the Humane Society. And only until Labor Day, actually when this 3 to 5 day hold took place, that's when Susan and I really started talking about the Humane Society and the issues. We were at the beach then. So I wanted to make that clear that, only probably in the last 6 weeks, and I've asked her questions mainly about presentations that have happened to council, like the catch, neuter, and release, the CNR presentations. I wanted to know more about that. And again, even this weekend, we haven't discussed what I'm going to say today. I'm a business person, and as a business person, I'm a problem solver. I think these things out on my own. Don't generally go to my wife to help me with them, or even other people for that matter. And in saying that and thinking this, I've been involved with council for 20 years. I remember I'm looking at David Dennis, former chairman of county council. We were in this business once before. When I first got on council, we had our own animal shelter. It's not a good business to be in. I think with David's leadership, we actually formed a partnership with the Humane Society way back then. And we did that because we weren't equipped to do the things that were being asked of us. And when I look at what's happened really in the last 5 to 6 years, we didn't have a problem up until about 5 years ago when we failed to sign contracts with Humane Society. I think it's 6 years ago was the last contract we had. And at that time it said we were going to pay X amount, basically $46 a dog. It would amount to about $675,000 a year. And under that contract that we were working off, the Humane Society had to take all the animals of all the people of Spartanburg County. Whether it was cats, dogs, chickens, horses, cows, whatever our animal control officers brought in, and the citizens. That's what they were being paid for, the $675,000. And over the last 5 years, things have happened. They didn't get a renewal of the contract. I think some of us on council assumed that we had signed contracts. Actually, I think even up until this summer when the 3 to 5 day issue hit, we thought there was a contract in place. We didn't know that this 10% that the Humane Society was not asking for, but actually demanding because their costs were going up. It hadn't had an increase in 6 years. It didn't hit us until the 3 to 5 day hold deal happened. And all of a sudden now it becomes a big issue. And because of cost, I think that the numbers at the Humane Society have gone up like 66% with the 3 to 5 day hold. The increase in numbers that they were going to have to take care of and the cost. So they come back to us and ask for more money. Well, in the process of these last 2 months, feelings have gotten hurt on both sides. And there's plenty of blame to go around. I'm not going to play the blame game on any side. Both sides have made mistakes. When it became obvious that the Humane Society was not going to get a dime more, and some folks have said that, we didn't have any more money. I think that's mainly what was being told. When we tell the Humane Society this, their return reaction is, we can't take care of your animals if you don't increase the cost. So all of a sudden, what happens is a typical divorce situation. You've heard the word divorce up here a couple times. Friendly divorce, amicable divorce. The fact is, in a divorce, nobody wins. But our job on council is to take care of the taxpayers, number one, and the animals, number two. And as long as we focus on the taxpayers and the animals, everything will work out all right. When you let emotions get involved, just like in divorces, people say things they don't really mean. When the Humane Society says, we don't want to take your animals anymore. I don't really think they mean that, based on the number of emails that I got yesterday and today. And I think when we say stuff like, y'all don't want to take care of animals, we'll go elsewhere. I don't think we want to go down that route. I know I don't want to go down that road, and I'm going to fight as hard as I can to keep us from doing that. When the Humane Society held that press conference 2 weeks ago, I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back up here. We had a committee that Mike was chairing, Michael and O'Neill and Dale were on, and I held great hope that they would work this out with Darwin and his team. When that press conference happened, it went from being an amicable divorce to a messy divorce. And again, the two parties that are going to suffer the most in this are going to be the taxpayers and the animals. And we got to stop. I mean, we don't need to proceed down this route, on this road, that we're going to separate. It's the wrong thing to do. The right thing to do is to have this ad hoc committee, along with Darwin Simpson and his committee, get together, let's work this out. I read this contract from Greenville County. And by the way, Greenville County does a great job with their animal shelter. I spoke with Joe Cornell last week and with Paula Gucker, the Assistant Deputy Administrator. They run a fabulous facility at a cost of $2.4 million a year to the taxpayers. And they employ 18 full-time employees, and they have 25 correctional or inmates working at the jail and a lot of volunteers. So they do a good job. And Greenville County is not also they're not to be blamed in this. They didn't come forward and ask for these animals. Greenville County told me, Joe Cornell and Paula, the reason they were willing to help us is because of the help that the Humane Society gave them a couple years ago while they were going through their problems. So they're being very complimentary. I also talked to York County. Oh yeah, by the way, Greenville County, they do a great job with working with all the other groups. That's something I think we could work out, and maybe this committee could listen to them a little bit as well, about the 36% euthanasia rate. That is good. That's very good. But, like I say, it comes with a cost. So they bring in 21,000 animals a year, euthanize about 7,600. I talked to York County also. Jane mentioned that York County has done that. York County did go through some problems. But they have turned their ship around, and they're doing it by the county, but at a cost of $1.2 million a year. A much smaller county than we are. They spend $1.2 million a year taking care of their animals, and we take care, in Greenville, $2.4. I was going to mention this contract. I read this contract earlier. If we had this contract 6 years ago with the Humane Society, we wouldn't be having this discussion today. Everything is black and white, the way it should be. We should have had a contract with the Humane Society, and that's where the blame's on our side. We should have made this happen. Again, every question that that they have raised, it's answered right here. The price, when the bill is going to be received, how we're going to take care of animals, who's going to do what. This is what they've been asking for 6 years. And if we can get this done in 1 week, we can afford to spend another month, 2 months, or whatever to work it out here. The other thing is, I read this ordinance. Oh my gosh. This is the most punitive ordinance. It's not solving the problem. Like I said, I'm a problem solver. This is like taking a chainsaw to a bleeding arm. It doesn't even come close to trying to solve the problems that we're going to have. Greenville's going to take 400 of our animals a month at a cost of $60, $240,000. And then, what are we going to do with the other 11,000 animals, 10,000 animals running around? We're going to make them pay. We're going to make them pay anywhere from $65 to $85 an animal for people bringing them in. If that's the case, if we're willing to make people pay to bring their animals in, why don't we give the Humane Society that money today? That's $370,000 or $350,000. That solves our problem right there. If we're talking about a financial problem, again, thinking about the divorce situation. Divorces happen because lack of trust, lack of communication, and money. All three of those things are prevalent right here, right now. The other day I was talking to a council member, talking to Jeff. If we do this or go this route, we go to Greenville County, our animal control is going to have to hire 9 people immediately. Right now, we have 6 animal control officers at a cost of $350,000 for their salary. That doesn't include cars, telephones, gas, and all the other stuff. We're going to have to hire an additional 9 people right now, and that's going to cost us somewhere around $450,000 to $500,000. And again, you tack on top of that phones, gas, cell phones, vehicles, things that we don't have right now. We're also going to have to build a holding facility because I asked the question, we're going to send all these animals over to Greenville. The owners, they're going to have to go out and drive to Greenville to see if their pet's been picked up. No, we're going to build a facility, or someone's going to build a facility for us that costs about $40,000 a year. To hold them here and then ship them over there. So we're going to have people at the facility and all the expenses relating to it. This is not going to save us one dime, not a penny. And it's not taking care of the citizens, the taxpayers, or the animals. And when you look at the vision of Spartanburg, of where we are, where we want to be, this is going backwards. This is going back 22 years ago to William Street. We're not in the business of taking care of animals. I'm not here today to stop and say, okay, you guys want a divorce? I want a divorce. And let the taxpayers and the animals suffer. No, I'm not ready to go down that route. I think we ought to fight. It's going to take 4 council members at least to step up and say, let's don't go here. Let's stop it. Let's ask the Humane Society to work with us. Darwin said, you said you would work with us. Even though some of the things have been said in emotions and anger. And by the way, he did not say the other day that he did not say, they wanted a friendly divorce. He did say that. And he told me when I called him about it, that was a misprint. Because I know it upset Jeff. Darwin has told me that. He said, I'll sign an affidavit tomorrow saying I did say that. So I want to clear the air there. But if I ask Darwin, I have great trust in him. We can communicate. And I know we can get the money worked out. We don't need to go down this path. So I had a lot of notes, a lot of things to say. This will cost us, I project it, especially if we go our own route and do our own animal shelter, it's going to cost us somewhere around $1.5 million to $1.7 million. And we don't have the money now to do it.